Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back with another commentary film being filmed in 2024 for release in 2025. Today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil 7. So it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like coming back to Resident Evil in general was kind of a weird thing for me, Resident Evil 7 included. I have quite the long history with Resident Evil in general. It's been one of my favorite franchises for a very long time, and I've always played the hell out of it no matter what, and I guess I would be considered a diehard fan in this regard. With Resident Evil 7, I was excited for a wide variety of reasons. I didn't really care for 6, but 6 is its own monster and has its own series of videos. So 5 was okay. 4 was okay, but I widely consider 4 and 5 action titles and not generally survival horror games, but they're still Resident Evil games nonetheless. I think for me, when 7 came out, it was a return to form. There was a lot of things that I liked about it. There was a lot of things I didn't like about it either. It was just really, I think, kind of a mixed bag and stuff. It's a gorgeous game to look at. Like, first and foremost, the first outing of the Resident Evil engine was quite nice, amazing, in fact. But I find that it was lacking in a multitude of ways. Like, the house is there, but I felt like it was trying too hard to be other games and not generally a solid Resident Evil title. First things first, I felt that it had a little bit of the Outlast, well, a little too much of the Outlast DNA, if you would, where you just kind of have like a dominant enemy that kind of trolls around and, stalks you throughout the immediate vicinity and stuff. And I mean, it looks good on Outlast and stuff, but for Resident Evil to have that is a little bit strange. I know that we did that with Resident Evil 3, but Resident Evil 3 wasn't quite like 7. With Resident Evil 3, you could go and defeat Nemesis and he would drop stuff for you to have, and it was only, he would only chase you if you're in areas too long, or sometimes if it was context sensitive, like the RPD or something, he would come busting through the wall and chase you then. They were kind of like little set pieces. He wasn't always around. He could be if you hovered, but you would have to be hovering for a very long time. And so I thought it was kind of weird because Resident Evil 7, I think, feels more like a walking sim with guns, more or less. Like, it definitely has that Outlast DNA pumping through it with a little bit of Blair Witch Project vibes with the whole way that you go and solve puzzles using videotapes and stuff, and it was just a really, really weird thing for me. I like how the puzzles made a return. It's nice to see shadow puzzles and stuff, even though shadow puzzles are somewhat new to the series depending on what you consider a shadow puzzle. It was still nice to have those as well. I don't really think that the game itself, at least to me, is very memorable. The weird thing is there was a point in time where when this game first came out, I had picked it up on Xbox One, and I thought that it was the best thing ever because blinders, right? We hadn't had a horror-esque, survival horror-esque Resident Evil in so long that I felt that I was kind of starved for it to a certain lesser extent. So when it came out and we were returning to a house and have all these monsters and everything's like difficult and all this stuff, that were not was not like Resident Evil 5 and 6, I kind of jumped on it. But I find that the game itself is actually very, very, very bland. And the reason for that is because everything is very generic. Well, we'll go over enemies, for example. I don't really find any of the mold monsters to be very compelling. They actually feel quite generic in a Left 4 Dead sort of fashion. So it's like you have your skinny mold monster, you have your fat mold monster, you have your mold monster that crawls around on the ground, and you have your super strong mold monster, and that's pretty much it. You know, that's literally it. Like, it doesn't really advance too far beyond that in comparison with other titles where it's like, yes, we had a multitude of zombies and stuff that we would fight. We would have the naked lab zombies, the vomiting zombies, the cemetery zombies, the cop zombies in 2. You know, like, we did have a wide variety of zombies, but we would also mix it up with various BOWs that would go and plague you as you would go and play the game as well. So there was always a really good variety. We had different builds for, like, even hunters. We had different redesigns and stuff, especially for the alphas, betas, and gammas. You know, the gammas looking like giant tree frogs, more or less, to a certain extent, and then the betas looking like alphas that were basically riddled in tumors, which makes sense because that's exactly what they were. You know, so there was always, throughout the Resident Evil games, there was always like a really good mix of enemies. And we started seeing a decline with that in 4. I think with 4, it's like, oh, we have all these Spaniards that are infested with parasites, and, you know, 5 did the same thing with the Magini as well, and then 6 kind of kept doing that as well. So with 7, I was kind of hoping for it to be more of a return to form like 1, 2, and 3, and even Code Veronica to a certain extent, because we had generic enemies, but we also had other enemies as well that were very, very unique, mostly bosses and various BOWs that would be released as the game would go, essentially. But with 7, I found myself getting kind of bored with it, I think. Like, when I first played it, I was like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. But when I had to go and revisit it, I kind of would passively think in the back of my mind, oh dear God, why the hell was I excited about this? You know, why is this like a super, you know, important thing from back then? And I would just kind of sit down and say to myself, what the fuck is it about this that was so damn exciting to me? And so, looking back at Resident Evil 7, I think it is very easy to see that it draws inspiration from everything short of its own heritage. I mean, we got some puzzles, and we have the weapons, of course, and yeah, we're returning to a house, not generally the house, but a house. But I find that it draws a fair bit of inspiration from the Blair Witch Project, as well as Outlast, and even Texas Chainsaw Massacre to a certain lesser extent when you actually go and look at the bakers. You know, and it's really just kind of odd to see a long-standing franchise draw so much inspiration from everything else but itself, because Resident Evil has always had a very, very rich history. You know, and there's just a lot to build off of with that and stuff. I think another thing that it kind of killed Resident Evil 7 for me, thinking about it now, is it barely has anything to do with the other games. And we kind of saw this tradition going, and starting with the mainline games, 4, 5, and 6, you know, they didn't really have anything to go and do with each other. It was just a bunch of loose-knit stuff. Whereas 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica were more like direct continuations. 4, 5, and 6 very much so often felt like separate stories that didn't really have any relevancy to the overall plot and the continuation of the story as a whole. With 4, it's like a real brief cutscene. And then, you know, 5 and 6 didn't really fare much better in that regard. But with 7, it's different in the fact that it is almost a complete disconnect. It felt like, I think with 7, it felt like it was trying to do what 6 did, where they just kind of wanted to make something completely new, but they really weren't sure if it was actually going to fly or not, so they just made it, and then they just kind of slapped Resident Evil on it. There really isn't any sort of nods to anything short of, overt nods to anything short of 3 things that are kind of in your face. The name of the Albert pistol, obviously referencing Albert Wesker, Chris Redfield, and the Umbrella logo, you know, that is on the chopper at the end of the game. So I think looking back at it now, it's very evident that Capcom just is kind of, when you go and you look at it, they're trying to do something new, but they're kind of just stapling the Resident Evil name on it, and The thing is it's a good game. You know, I did have fun with it, but there are portions of it that are extremely bland. Ah, yes, the Blair Witch reference. Here we go. So, but it just didn't really feel super compelling. I didn't even really like Ethan as a character too much. Like, Ethan does kind of nod back to some of the older survival horror games as well, especially Silent Hill, because Ethan, for all intents and purposes, is an everyman. And so it's not like the older games where it's normally some form of special forces, and then later games where you'd play as a civilian, especially in the Outbreak series. So it seems like Resident Evil 7 just wanted to go and just draw inspiration from everywhere else, which is really just kind of sad. And so revisiting it, I look at it a little bit and I kind of gawk. And it's not great. You know, it's not the greatest thing ever, but I look at it and I say to myself, you know, it's a beautiful game. It has, you know, compelling gameplay and stuff, but it has a really bland story, incredibly bland enemies, and it seems to get its inspiration from everywhere but itself. You know, like every piece of horror media it could find practically, aside from itself. When done right, this can be a good thing. You know, it can be a very, very good thing as long as it's done very, very tastefully, but the problem is that a lot of the time, it's not so much a nod to it, it is almost a direct one-to-one copy in some instances. And it just doesn't really feel right, I think, a lot of the time when you actually go back and look at it. There are some redeeming qualities. I do like finding the coins and stuff and using them, redeeming them at the bird cages to get various items, and I do like fixing up weapons. That way you can go and, you know, use them later, and then going around and collecting the various weapons is very, very nice as well. The crafting was a very, very lovely nod to the older games and stuff, and I loved that. The idea that you could just make bullets on the fly was really nice. But I think at the same time, while I did like it, I feel like making bullets in general in the base game was just way too easy because it never really... I feel the game never really squeezes you. You know, with a horror game, there has to be some sense of urgency, right? You have to literally go and actually feel like you're being squeezed, because if you could just walk around and kill everything, obviously you're not really feeling threatened at that point. That's kind of the whole point of survival horror. You have to actually feel like you're surviving something. Even with the older games that would go and let you make ammo, they would let you make bullets, but it wasn't always like a super huge amount. I mean, yeah, you could go and stack up a super huge amount if you really wanted to, but the thing is that it was normally seasoned players that were going and doing that. You know, or people that were playing it on easy would do it as well because zombies would just die so fast. But I think with Resident Evil 7, looking back at it, it's kind of godsmacking, I think, how easy it was for me to just go through the game and not really have to worry about ammo too much. Like, I never really felt like I was suffering whatsoever. You know, like, I never really felt like, hey, this is the end, or I need to really think about my ammo consumption. I just always said, oh, I've got materials to make more ammo. So when you become your own ammo farm, I find that it's very, very difficult to feel threatened by much of anything. So all of that would change, I think, when I had unlocked Madhouse mode. Madhouse mode is a hell of a drug. I love how incredibly brutal it was and stuff, and going through Madhouse to get infinite ammo was actually quite just really lovely. And I enjoyed it because I actually felt like I was surviving it. Dealing with Jack was truly a horrifying experience, and it literally left nothing whatsoever to be desired. So I just kind of sat down, and I didn't even really feel like it was an actual survival horror game until I started playing Madhouse. Like, the base grade modes are nice for, like, the normies and stuff that probably don't remember those older games. That, you know, just want to sit down and play the game and not really struggle too much. That's great, but I think the problem that I had with playing the older games is I started with the first one, which was incredibly hard, and you had to cut your teeth on it kind of relentlessly to go and become better at the game because it just really didn't give you a lot. And then that would become better with Director's Cut and DualShock Edition and everything else. It would kind of start making the game more accessible to everybody. But when you go and you play a game that is that hard and stuff, it sets the bar, I think, a fair bit for ultimately what you're going to be expecting future installments to be like. And so, Resident Evil's over 20 years old now. It's been around for a very long time. And I understand that the game is going to change and stuff, but I was just kind of disappointed because when I have to go and play a mode like Madhouse to sit there and say, yeah, that's the good stuff, it kind of lets me know that the base game is just kind of lacking challenge, a little bit. And I understand that Capcom is trying to keep the franchise palatable to everybody, like you want everybody to play your game so you can sell more copies and things like that. But at the same time, there has to be some form of resistance there. Just going and handing the entire game and practically having it play itself in some instances really just isn't that great, I think. You gotta give the player a little bit of something to chew on. So with 7, I feel like a lot of it is just a rehash. We're going into a mansion, well, a somewhat mansion. That's fine, whatever. But I think the thing that kind of bothered me the most is it tried a little too hard to be very fan servicey. So it's like you have your stereotypical locations that you're going to be going and visiting. Like you're going to have your mansions, you're going to have your mine area where, there's just shit down there that's trying to kill you, and then Resident Evil 7 comes complete with its own ship, which, it seems like every 2 or 3 games we get an area that is a ship for the end game area, and it feels like it tries to capture a lot of what made the old games great, but it also simultaneously doesn't really understand what makes the old games great, and so is really, really weird and stuff. And I think I kind of struggled with it a fair bit. Like when you're first playing the game, I think you overlook a lot of stuff because you're just excited to be going back and to be doing it, right? You're just glad to be back in the saddle and going and playing the game, and, you're just glad that it's not, 5 and 6. I mean, 5 was a fun game, but 6 was just awful. Like I really struggled with 6. But I had other struggles, I think, when going and filming Resident Evil 7 in general. Like, it was one of those, I've learned to keep my gaming habits separate from my relationships largely because what generally wound up happening with 7 is it was one of those relationship games that I would go and play, with somebody that I was either dating or engaged with at the time. And so a lot of the time with those games, if the relationship goes south, I never really want to go and revisit it at all. So when people had started requesting the Resident Evil games, I knew that 7 was going to be on the docket at some point. I had just gotten the capture card and I was trying to get everything stable and stuff, get it to where it needed to be. And I remember sitting down, I had the Xbox One X set up, and I had slid the Blu-ray in, and I said to myself, oh dear God, do I really want to go and revisit this? Because at the time, I think that I block out a lot of Resident Evil 7 because when I was playing it, it was at one of the worst periods of my life. Because I was engaged to somebody that was like really fucking atrocious, and so the big thing was Resident Evil 7 had dropped. And I was really excited for it because I was like, Resident Evil, I never get sick of it. Even with 6, yeah, it was a bad game, but I still wanted more Resident Evil because, well, I'm a fan. So I think with 7, I kind of stay away from it, not generally because I find a lot of the enemies to be bland, and not even generally because I feel that everything outside of Madhouse is lacking difficulty, but it's mainly because I was really excited for the game, and then when it dropped, I remember just that first week playing the game, And I had the week off at the time, and I was like, this is my week, we're going to play the game. And with me, I don't really, when it comes to gaming and stuff, I don't really see a need to compete with people, you know? Unless it's multiplayer, of course. But when it comes to like single player, achievement based stuff, I don't really see a need to go and compete with it. I play the game, I get exactly what I want out of the game, and I more or less go from there. I just kind of say, okay, this is it, and I'm pretty much done with it at that point. But with 7, I was just kind of so engaged with it, which is really weird because I can't even really remember any of that time period from when I had first started playing it. I just remember that I was so damn engaged with it that I was maxing out the entire achievements list and doing all the modes and unlocking all the weapons and just going and just completely killing it. So the problem that I had with 7 was, at the time, the relationship I was in, she always felt that everything had to be a competition. I'll be honest with you, I don't care. If you feel like we're competing, then, that's on you. But when it comes to, like, achievements and who beats the game first and everything like that, I largely just did not give a shit. I just had a little bit of time to myself. And I said, oh, okay, we're going to go ahead and, do this. And, it's going to be really, really great. And so I just kind of sat there and I had kept moving for a while. And I had the entire week to myself, and I said, you know what? If it's anything like the other Resident Evil games, it's probably going to be a little bit on the shorter side. Probably going to be 4 or 5 hours. And I'm probably going to be able to do a couple of runs and just really pound it out. I don't really have anything going on, so, this week is pretty much a good time for me to be going and doing this, more or less. So I went and I played the game, and I had, like, a lot of fun with it and stuff, and the main issue that I was running into is this person that I was dating at the time was upset because I was going and getting a lot of achievements. I wasn't actively achievement hunting the game at the time. I was like, okay, I want to go and get all the unlockables in the game. Like guns, just health upgrades, just coins, all of it. I want to get the max value out of this game to say, yeah, I got everything. I didn't really care about the achievements list. So my first run was actually really, really slow. I took my time with it. I explored the entire house. It was like a 9-hour romp. And then I went, and for subsequent runs, I was like, okay, we're going to start scooting. And whenever I say I'm getting ready to start scooting, it's normally, I'm not so much speed running the game at that point. I am more just going through, grabbing things I missed, and just doing it in a quicker fashion, So I would go and I would do multiple runs, and I found that I could do the entire game in about, sometimes 3 hours, but my median time was around 3 hours 20 minutes, like just really kind of going and moving kind of fast while going and grabbing things, killing enemies, all that stuff. So I decided I wanted all the guns and I wanted unlimited ammo and things like that. But the thing that nobody really understood about the game is that when you decided that you were going to go and do all this stuff, you were more or less going and competing with everybody else because all the achievements are literally tied to crap you do in game and various things that you get, and things that you would typically do, like maxing out your health, maxing out your stamina, unlocking this mode, beating this difficulty. It was just like a lot of progression areas, I think. So the problem that I had, and one of the reasons why I just kind of stay away from Resident Evil 7, is the simplistic fact that I didn't really like all the negativity that had surrounded it at the time. The woman that I was dating was incredibly jealous anytime I went and did anything, and I didn't really know why. So when I had a week to myself, I just said, we're going to max the game out. I don't care about the achievements, I just want to do everything else. Well, joke's on me, the achievements are tied to doing everything. So I was just going through and getting things like the various manuals and the walking shoes and just like all the interesting stuff that you can actually go and unlock in this game, and it had led to a large amount of arguing, you know. And by arguing, I mean I sat there and just kind of looked at her and was like strangely confused by everything, and she would just go and cry and complain, and it was just really, really strange. And so I find that my first romp through Resident Evil 7, I barely remember playing the game. I just remember her whining, complaining that I had more gamer score than her, and it was just really odd to me because I don't really pay attention to gamer score. I did when I was younger, I think, like back on the Xbox 360, I paid attention to it very heavily. But I would have to say halfway through the Xbox 360's lifespan, I just kind of stopped caring because I realized that it really, in all honesty, just didn't matter. And a lot of people didn't really like that. They didn't really like it when I had just kind of had the epiphany and said to myself, oh yeah, none of this shit means anything. And so 7 for me was extremely stressful to actually go and play. And last year I was going and I was talking to a couple of acquaintances in a Discord server, and I said, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about going and doing some more video content and stuff. I'm not too sure yet. I'm not even sure what I want to start playing. I know I got to grab a laptop and a capture card and a couple of other things, but I just have no idea what I'm going to be doing, more or less. And so they're like, well, why don't you do Resident Evil? You know, you're always a pretty big fan with it and stuff. And I thought about it. You know, like I thought about it for a really long time, and the more I thought about 7, I could just feel the tension in my neck just building up, and I just really didn't really care for it that much. And so it was a point of self-reflection where it's like, okay, what is it about this game that is making, you know, me behave like this? And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that when I have negative memories tied to something, the thought of it will literally just kind of crank me up a little bit. So I just kind of said to myself, oh, okay, you know, it's mainly just this. So the entire time people were suggesting 7 to me, I just kind of sat there and I was just saying to myself, do I really want to do this? Because a lot of it would just leave a really bad taste in my mouth. But I knew that people wanted me to start going through the Resident Evil franchise, which was something that had been on my docket for quite some time, I think. And so I sat down. I had just purchased the Xbox One X. I had gotten a used one from GameStop, which shortly after doing this batch of videos, it died. It wound up catching fire. Shit was wild. But I sat down and I was like, okay, well, we're going to do the Resident Evils, but we're going to start by moving backwards. You know, start with 8 and just go from there. So I just kind of sat there and I said, do I really want to do 7? Do I really want to go and relive that? You know, do I really want to think about that while I go and I play the game? And when you go and you have memories like that, and it kind of compacts on top of its various issues with like very bland enemies and stuff, you just kind of groan, I think, a fair bit. But I eventually swallowed it down. I was like, you know what? Yeah, we got Resident Evil 7 here. While it's not my favorite, I can understand that people want to watch it. So around this time, I learned how awful recording things off of an Xbox One was, and I had struggled with it a fair bit. You know, like all the games I had recorded on Xbox were just a god-awful fucking experience because nobody was ever willing to explain to me that the Xbox One does not like external capture cards. And so I was rocking, at the time of recording this, the MacBook Pro with a HD60S Plus using the Game Capture HD software, which is fucking awful, by the way, because newer versions of OBS just did not like the operating system that I was using, which was macOS Monterey. So with all of the games on Xbox One, even though it was showing as being recorded in a very, very buttery smooth fashion, a lot of it came out with the occasional frame dip, and it wouldn't even show up on the dashboard. It literally would not give me any sort of indicator that shit was going wrong. So, with Resident Evil 7, I was able to do it in a single take, just nonstop, but there is like the occasional frame dip here, which is kind of weird because the gameplay itself was smooth, the dashboard was smooth, it was showing a very, very consistent capture, but for some reason the end result was very, very odd. And so I'm actually very grateful that it came out as smooth as it did, because it was like my first real attempt at going and just saying, hey, okay, we're going to do this all in a single run and we're just going to pound it out. I was actually really excited for it because it's something I had been wanting to do for a very, very long time. So eventually we went ahead and did it, and it was actually a lot of fun. A lot of people got really, really upset because they were like, oh, well, you're using all these extra things, and I didn't care, man. Like, I'm just here to have fun while filming the game. If I need walking shoes and an unlimited pistol to pop everybody in their face with HP ammo, then fuck it, I'm there. I just wanted to have fun with the recordings, I didn't want to do anything super professional like Madhouse, no hit, 360 no scope, nut shot, YOLO swag shit. I just wanted to sit down, share a game that I at one point in time enjoyed playing with people, and that was pretty much it. So it was really, really weird. There's a lot of things I think I had to contest with Resident Evil 7. It does have the occasional frame dip and stuff, and going and rewatching it and stuff, I can somewhat see that now. Granted, my vision is just really fucking awful, but I can still somewhat see it. And but it's not too bad, right? It's just like the occasional little bit of a dip here. And I just kind of said to myself, you know what, that's pretty cool. Like I didn't really mind it at all, and I was incredibly grateful that I even had the time and the ability to go and get a external capture card and a laptop to like go and start this stage of it. So the entire time I had recorded it, I was like, this is really exciting. It was one of the first full-blown, non-stop, complete game captures I had done using the card, and it felt pretty good, I think. But there was like all sorts of things I had to correct on this video. While there isn't really any sort of advanced editing and stuff, I find that recording any of the newer Resident Evil games is a fucking nightmare. And the reason why I say that is because it uses dynamic contrast. I've never really been much of a fan of dynamic contrast. I have spent a large amount of time going and tweaking and tuning my giant TV that I use as a monitor to have proper black levels, proper white levels, proper color, all of it. It is completely fucking calibrated. And all of it is done extremely well. So the problem that I had recording Resident Evil 7, there was a couple things. I was running the risk of the capture being botched because I did not know at the time that the capture card was just completely borked. And then the other thing, so what would happen is, it would say that the capture is done. But depending on the game, one of two things would happen. There would either be a corrupted frame somewhere in the capture, which I would have to hunt down and manually edit out, or redo the entire fucking run all over again. Or I had another fucking issue where what it would do is the capture card would become overwhelmed, heavy air quotes, and it would split the recording into multiple chunks, with those chunks missing in between a minute and a half in between all of them. And some games were so bad in that regard with that problem that I never could film them correctly. Like the Xbox One port of Resident Evil 4 swaps around between resolutions so much between cutscenes and the dynamic res of the game itself that it would literally split up every time it would shift resolution. It would literally cut the hell out of that recording and leave all these little chunks in the exact same spot all the time, and I really hated it. So I had to suffer with that, and then I had to suffer with dynamic contrast, because what would happen is, since my TV is calibrated correctly, everything looks normal. the calibration of the card would not always line up with calibration of the television. So what would happen is I would do the recording, and I would say to myself, man, this is really nice. I like this. This is pretty to stare at. Everything looks really cinematic. And then I would go back, I would save the recording, and I would get around to editing, and everything, and I mean everything that I had recorded on Xbox One looked washed out. All of it looked washed out, and it was just so bad. So I would go and I would constantly fuck with the settings of the capture card, and I would be like, okay, alright, what's going on here? You know, why does this look like this? You know, this looks gray. It should be a nice dark inky black. And so I would mess around with the settings on the card, and the Elgato software is so fucking bad that it didn't even like saving the settings half the time. It would just be like, oh, it's saved, and then nothing would change. So to combat this problem, I would go do the entire recording, and then I would, because I was still going and using the Mac Mini at the time, it would take me a day almost to go and color correct it and gamma correct it and just, you know, go and fix everything. So I would have to manually go in there and tweak and tune this shit to get it to look proper. And it was awful. Like, I think out of all the recordings I did, all the Xbox One recordings were just straight pain. Not even joking around. It was just straight pain for, like, me to go and just manually fix this crap. But the cool thing is once I figured out how everything worked, I was able to make a preset off of that. So if I knew that I'd recorded it on Xbox One, I could just sit there and say, oh, this is preset A. It needs to adjust black to this, white to this, you know, and then we need to tweak and tune color a little bit, and then a little bit of noise reduction. You know, like, there was just all sorts of things that the Xbox One really struggles with because of that bullshit architecture that Microsoft is still trying to push. So I would get in the habit of going, and there was never really, like with the Nintendo Switch, when I was recording off of it, there was a certain level of comfort because there is no real presence of dynamic contrast. Everything is very, very simple. So if I recorded something, I knew that red would be a nice cherry red, that black would be dark and inky, and white would look like a white picket fence, but it wouldn't be glaring to stare at. And so with the Nintendo Switch, it was very, very comfortable to go and record on. With the Xbox, it was a fucking nightmare. And so when I had asked, this had eventually led me to calling Microsoft, seeing if there was any way that I could turn dynamic contrast off. And they asked me, they're like, why would you want to do that? And I was like, well, I have my monitor properly calibrated, and, you know, X, Y, and Z. Well, we have dynamic contrast to provide the optimal viewing experience for you. And then I had explained, I was like, well, I'm trying to record these, and it's leaving all my recordings washed. And as soon as I said that, hey, I'm recording videos on the platform, they just wanted nothing to do with it. So yeah, going and doing the Xbox recordings was incredibly difficult. I struggled with it really hard. And the weird thing is I'm not even sure, because looking back at it now, I'm not even sure if the struggling was due to the console itself dying because the hard drive in it was going out and everything was just functioning like shit, like settings weren't even saving correctly and all that, or if it was the full-blown architecture itself, because the architecture doesn't like to play well with much of anything. But if you're going and you have a dying hard drive, that can lead to a lot of issues as well. So it became kind of this ongoing issue. And with Resident Evil 7, I actually got incredibly lucky with it because I just kind of sat down and said to myself, okay, we're going to go ahead and record this, and I only had to do it twice. The first one came out incredibly screwed up for some reason and had really bad contrast all over it. And then I had to go in, edit that, and from there I had to re-render it. And it was great right outside the box, and so I was really just kind of relieved, I think, with it. But Resident Evil 7, I think, was kind of a little bit of a, not even so much a learning experience, it was more like it felt like I was coming home in many ways. Like, you know, you ever have like one of those scenes where incredibly awful shit happens at the house, and so the person leaves, and then they know that they eventually have to come home to confront that crap at some point. That's what Resident Evil 7 was for me, I think. Like, people wanted me to actually go and record it and stuff, and I just remember kind of casually sitting here and saying to myself, they want this, but I'm not really much of a fan of this. You know, it's kind of like a hurtful thing for me to like go and revisit. So the question is, do I go back and do it, or do I just say fuck it? And past a certain point, I was like, yeah, it's been quite a few years. You know, it should be safe to go back and revisit and stuff. And the one thing that I think there's a couple things that I actually forgot about with Resident Evil, well, Resident Evil 7 in general. The first thing that I had completely and utterly fucking forgot about was quite literally how dusty the visuals look. Like, the Resident Evil engine gives me some hardcore Frostbite 2 vibes. You know, where everything looks kind of dusty and kind of gritty, a little bit grainy. Beautiful to look at, but still, like, super gritty and grainy nonetheless. You know, like, I had completely forgotten about that. And looking at it now, like, the visuals did age well, but that graininess is just a holy shit thing. It makes everything look super bland. Extremely bland and kind of washed out. So there was like a fair bit of color tweaking and black level adjustment and stuff, because going back and looking at it, I remember just kind of sitting in my room. I was like eating a small thing of pie and drinking a little bit of tea and stuff. It was just a long night. It was pouring ass outside. And I remember looking at the recording and saying to myself, fuck me, god damn, that does not look rich enough. And it was really weird because at the time I was going and learning DaVinci Resolve, which I'm still in the process of learning. And I just kind of said to myself, can I adjust this? Well, DaVinci Resolve is a very lovely program, incredibly complex to learn sometimes. So while I was going and learning and trying to render with it, I was like, you know, I wonder if I can do any of this shit on iMovie, because I was in this weird kind of state where I was in between iMovie and DaVinci Resolve. So like things I wanted to do on DaVinci Resolve, I was wondering if iMovie had a function for it. So yes, it turns out iMovie does. It was a little slider that they had at the top where you could just go and adjust and give you a preview of what it looked like in the pane below. So I just remember going and trying to fix this video's various issues and try to make it look rich and vibrant and just super colorful and just get everything where it needed to be. And I just remember kind of sitting there and saying to myself, oh, Jesus Christ, you know, I'm going to be struggling with this a bit. How do I go about doing this? And so in my quest to go and learn DaVinci Resolve, I literally had to go and dive more into iMovie as a stopgap, because I am learning DaVinci Resolve so slowly that I'm just kind of sitting here going, fuck, man, I'm still codependent on fucking iMovie. And oh man, I hated that realization. I thought I was hot shit there for a minute too. I was like, you know what? I'm doing so good. You know, I've got iMovie mastered. I'm moving on to DaVinci Resolve. There's a new rendering computer coming in soon. I got an external capture card. We're doing so good. And then DaVinci Resolve just reached across the room, slapped the dog shit out of me, and was like, you can't touch me yet, bitch. You're going to have to go back to iMovie. And I just remember going and having that realization and just saying to myself, God damn, dude, are you fucking serious? You know, it was incredibly humbling, I think. You know, just kind of sitting down and having those little realizations. It's nice to know that I'm almost in my fucking 40s and still having these goddamn epiphanies, which is really, really nice. You know, it's always good to learn, I think. You know, the moment you think you're done learning, it's just time to lay down and zip up the body bag at that point. Your time is done, you know? It's like, when you think you're done, you're done. You're literally done. So, but no, coming back to Resident Evil 7 is probably one of the hardest things I have ever done. And yet it is one of the funnest things I had ever done. I was making fun of this game the entire damn time I was playing it. I was literally just kind of sitting there going, okay, yeah, Yeah, this game is so bad. It's so generic. And yet, strangely enough, the entire time I played it, there was a strange sense of comfort and complete anxiety on top of it. Yeah, you got anxiety from the shitty memories that are associated with it, but you got comfort because it feels familiar. You know, it's kind of like slipping on an old comfortable pair of pants. You know, maybe you've had a pair of busted up jeans that are literally hanging out in your closet. You've had those shits like 15, 20 years. And you know they're all stretched out and busted up, all that cotton's broken in, so you just go and you slip those bad boys on and that's pretty much all she wrote. Yeah, Resident Evil 7 was kind of like that for me. It was completely insane. Like the process of recording it was just nuts, and looking back at it now, it's aged well. I still don't care for the enemies. I still don't really care for the story. Hate Ethan as a character. Don't even really like any of the characters I think outside of the Bakers. But I still had a good time doing it, I think, which is what's important. It's very important to go back and do that. And if I had to sit back and actually do it again, I would do it. I would definitely do it. God, this room. Yeah, I always thought it was kind of funny because it was weird. Like, they were trying to sit there and appeal to Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 a little bit because they were like, okay, we're going to have all these keys. And all these keys are going to go to all these doors, like the older games, which is great. But I think it's actually kind of funny because there are points in this game where you can miss the fucking key entirely. You can literally just completely fucking whiff it and just sit there and say to yourself, oh, okay, this is where it's at. And there were plenty of times going back and revisiting where I would just pass a key up, not even really give a shit, forget about it, and then be like, wait a minute, why can't I open this door? What the hell is this shit? Like I would just kind of go and, lose the key, then have to go back and fetch it. It's like, oh, it's inside this body, okay, and yeah, just completely passed over that crap like it was going out of style. Completely wild. Just completely wild. But yeah, with Resident Evil 7, the struggle was real. I was just kind of like, alright, guys, here we go. But, I came, I saw, I conquered, and that's what's important, Like, life for me is about stepping outside of your comfort zone a fair bit so you can actually go and try to do something, and it pays off most of the time. It definitely does. So, but yeah, that is. Oh god, I forgot about this dude. I'm sitting there trying to end this commentary, and this fucker just shambles around the corner like it's going out of fashion. Oh guys, it's like, get the fuck away from me, dude. I'm gonna pop you in your face. But yeah, that's gonna be all for this commentary and stuff. For all that came out, I greatly appreciate it. Of course. And as always, till next time, be good to yourselves and each other.
was gonna be a father. Now she says he will be her father. No. I will find him, and I will make him suffer. And you, my friend, will help me. Poor deputy. You ain't getting away.
That's not good.
You go get it now. That's it. You go get it now. That's it. Do me a favor and stay dead.
first I've ever seen make it this far.
So what is it you need me to do? Is it gonna help me get out of here?
Yes. Now listen carefully, Ethan. My family and our bodies are contaminated. I can't leave the property unless I get it out. And the same goes for Mia.
Is there a way to get it out?
We need the serum. It should clear whatever this stuff is out of the body. As long as you're not too far gone.
Alright, so where is it?
If I knew where one was, I'd already be long gone. But I have a feeling my mother has hidden some inside the old house somewhere.
So if we get this thing, I can help Mia and we can get out of here?
Right. And so can I. The old house is near the water. You can't miss it.
Alright.
I just hope you can handle my mother.
Your mother?
Be careful. They'll be looking for you.
Ethan!
No more bullshit, Mia. I want some answers.
I know, you're right, and I always wanted to tell you, but I can only remember a little, and the rest is just gone.
Daddy, right? You mind if I borrow Mommy for a little bit? Why don't you stand there? Do something!
Ethan, help!
Damn it.
Stay the fuck out!
Told you you don't belong out here. I told you to stay out of here! All right, you. This is beyond the pale. You hear me? Beyond the pale. Ah! It's mine.
I think that's it.
Well, did he find a serum?
I just got done dealing with your mom and her fucking bugs. Wish you could have warned me.
Sorry about that. What about the serum?
I haven't found any, but I did find out we need to make one. A D-series head and an arm. This can't be right.
A head? I think I have that around here somewhere.
You do?
I don't know about the arm, though. Have you searched the whole house?
No, not yet. I still need to check the second floor here.
All right. Check it out. Meet me at the trailer if you find it.
special.
Gonna get ya! What do you think you're doing?
Fucking stay dead, okay?
Stay away.
Oh, God. I guess this is it.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I got it. Are we really gonna be able to make serum with this thing?
It'll be fine. After we make it, we can get out of here. Together. I'll be waiting for you in the trailer.
All right. Now, where the hell are you? You know, never mind. We only need the head, and you've got it. This is gonna help me and me, right?
Hey, buddy. I thought you should know. I decided that Zoe needed a timeout. She and Mia are here with me. And they're keeping each other company.
Just let them both go! What do you need them for?
Nah, that's family business, Ethan, and not your concern. Understand? Now, if you want the head, feel free to come by any time and I'll give it to you. But only if you participate in a little, activity I put together just for you.
What activity?
Oh, I know you're excited, but don't worry. It's not going anywhere. First step I need you to take, partner, is for you to take a peek inside the fridge in the trailer there.
Fuck you!
Oh, come on now. Don't be like that. You want to have some fun, don't you? Now, look in the fridge.
Sorry, buddy.
That pretty little thing will help you find the 2 key cards you're gonna need to join the party we're having over here. You gotta earn your way, Ethan.
Ah. Oh my God.
Hey, buddy. Remember, those two key cards will get you into the party. Don't be late now.
Let me talk to Mia.
No, no, no! You gotta show up first! You haven't forgotten where the party is, have you? You can get in from the courtyard. So come on, man! Everybody's waiting for you! do with this? She thinks this thing is special. No, Ethan. That ain't special. This right here is special. You see, Ethan? Not everybody wants to turn back the clock. What? What, Evelyn? I'm just trying to show him. I'm just trying to show him not everybody wants to go back to how things were. So he's a stupid bitch. She doesn't understand that I don't want to go back to how things were before my father found y'all. Not everybody wants to turn back the clock. So Ethan, Ethan, you can crawl around underneath that filthy, rotten house all you want looking for them ingredients, but you ain't gonna find a goddamn thing, Ethan. You'll need that serum? Ooh, baby. You're gonna have to come through me. You hear? Now, come on, Ethan. What do you say?
Fuck!
Woo! You have got a good eye. Careful now. They bite back. Yeah. Sorry for the mess. Ethan, that is not what I put those things in. What you got against Christ, Ethan? Ooh, guess I'm gonna have to step up my game.
I know. Fucking password, right? Why don't you try 0814? No! 0621. No, it's 0514. Oh, come on. Take a chance. You never know. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the bonfire! Keep it clean, gentlemen, we have rules.
Fuck you too.
It's how you deal with hardships in life that makes you a man, Ethan. Fat man down, fat man down. He's a little favorite anyways. No, buddy, this is a test of skills, so no cheating. That shit you're carrying, get rid of it.
Have a nice day.
All right, what do you say we play a little game? All you gotta do is light the candle and put it on the cake.
Kiss my ass.
Ethan, language. There are children in the building. Somewhere. I think. I'm not sure anymore.
stay.
All right, what do you say we play a little game? All you gotta do is light the candle and put it on the cake.
Kiss my ass.
Ethan, language. There are children in the building. Somewhere. I think. I'm not sure anymore. Motherfucker! You're supposed to die! That was supposed to be for you, goddammit!
Finally.
Zoe? Zoe,
Not now. We don't have the time. Do you have both ingredients?
Right here. There should be enough, right?
If we make them fast enough, my father and Lucas aren't far away.
He's coming. Daddy's coming.
Good. There's enough for two.
So after we make the serum, what's next?
There's a boat outside. We'll take it through the swamp. But neither of us will get very far without the serum. Hey, one of those is mine.
Zoe! Get your ass back to the house! I will deal with you later! It's bad enough! Take down from me!
This is getting old, Jack. Now, I've seen everything.
Ethan, this way.
Not leaving on you!
Use the serum on him.
You want me to cure him?
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Come on. Mia's waiting for us.
I had to use one of them. There's only one left.
There's only one left. There can't just be one left.
What the hell are we gonna do now? It's fine. It was foolish thinking I could escape.
But Zoe,
Go! Both of you just go!
come with us. I'm sure there's someone who can help.
This is not home. Apparently I belong here.
I'll send help.
Don't bother. There won't be anyone left to help!
Ethan? Thank you.
Who the hell else was I gonna choose?
Ethan.
Mia, I know you've been through a lot. We need to talk. You had something to do with all this, didn't you? Look, I just want to know the truth.
Ethan, I honestly don't remember.
Try. Is that the boat? How the fuck did that get here? Oh, you're okay. What the hell was that? What the fuck? What is that? What is that?
Mommy. This way.
Ethan? Ethan? Ethan! 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 What was that?
They're dead. They're all dead. What is it? The engine room. What the fuck are you talking about? She killed them all. Oh, fuck. What the hell is going on? We need some weapons. Is there any weapons on this ship? I don't know, but... Look, let's go this way. Maybe we can get out of here. settle.
Are you remembering?
What? What are you?
You said we could be a family.
What are you talking about?
You said!
Wait!
I'm tired of waiting. Watch it.
What? Why?
You need to remember, so we can be a family.
Alan, you're getting worse.
She must have infected me during the attack. And I'm too far gone anyway.
it serves me right. It's my fault she got out.
Yeah, it is your fault. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna let you die.
She didn't attack you?
It's part of her imprinting protocol. I can't believe this is happening.
Here. Take it. It has her tissue samples. You find her. You fix this.
Okay, Evie. Where are you? She's close. She's vomited. Damn. I'll have to reset.
How's it going?
She's vomiting. Far more in excess of her body mass.
Oh, great. We're gonna be seeing a lot more of her ugly friends if this keeps up. All right. We need to find her, and fast. This is getting out of hand.
Agreed. No, Evie, I'm not mad. Wait, what did you call me?
I don't want to live at the lab anymore. I want a house. And I want you to be my mommy.
Okay, Evie. I'll be your mommy. Just come back with me. Right now. Okay? Where are you, Evie? Evie, wait!
Did you find her?
Yes, but she ran off. She's making more friends, Alan. Those things are everywhere.
I told you so.
Are you okay?
You just worry about getting Evelyn back.
Emergency safety lockdown system has been engaged.
Alan? Alan, where the hell are you? How did you get here?
Where's Evie?
She's out of control. Without the treatments, she's deteriorating.
Well, it's a good thing we're already dying.
Don't say that.
She trusts you. That little bitch, she never trusts. Okay, wait. Evie, no, Evie.
Alan, listen.
I didn't mean to call you that.
She's
Evie,
trying to take control. You have to fight her. Evelyn, stop! Stop right now!
Don't touch me, don't!
Ethan. You were right. I did lie to you. I shouldn't have. All I can say is that if you get this, stay away. Forget that you ever knew me. Have a good life.
We'll be together forever. Now do you remember?
Yes, Evelyn. I remember.
Can we be a family like before?
No, Evie. We can't be a family. We were never a family. We will never be a family.
Then I don't need you anymore. waiting.
Ethan.
Ethan? Ethan? Hey, shh. I know. I'm not gonna hurt you. Hell, I never would have if I could have helped you.
What do you mean?
I'm no killer, son. Neither is Marguerite, nor my boy Lucas, or even Zoe here. That girl, Evelyn, she did this.
What the hell is she? No, what did she do to you?
She infected us with her gift. That's what she calls it. I found her near a busted out tanker in the bayou. Everything changed after that.
So she infects you and then she takes control?
No. Not exactly, son. She just... she forces her way into your mind, your soul. You can't fight back. You are connected to her, and you can't resist the urge to... Oh, you're a different person after that.
Just like Mia. So Mia sent me that message because of Evelyn.
Listen, the girl just wants a family of her own. She's the key, all right? You find her, and you stop her. Ethan, free my family. Please.
Evelyn, stay away from him.
Why? He doesn't love you. I can make him love you.
Don't hurt him.
Silly, I told you I'm not gonna hurt him.
Don't you dare.
So what? You're not my mama. Remember?
Mia, how?
There's no time. You have to get out of here and find her. Here, take this.
What? Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Saving your life. You need to go. I won't be able to resist for much longer.
No.
Now go kill that little bitch.
No. Mia! No! Okay, you little bitch. Where the fuck are you?
not here. It's gone. It's gone!
This is your fault.
Why am I seeing this?
Ethan, it's okay. It's okay, it's me. I know you didn't mean to hurt me.
Kill him, Mommy.
But you shouldn't have done that! It fucking hurts!
Does it want to be my daddy? Then he can die. Now it's Mommy's turn to kill you.
Help! Ethan, help me.
You're gonna be one of us. And then maybe you'll play nicely.
I'm not playing.
No! Get that away from me!
You.
Why does everyone hate me?
Everything tear down. Just a little boy. I just wanted a family.
Time's over.
that feel? I'm glad we found you.
The fuck took you guys so long?
Ethan?
Mia. You made it. I'm glad.
Did I?
They say that when one door closes, another opens. Well, a door closed tonight. And what a long night it was. But not just for me. Mia and I weren't the only victims here. So were the Bakers. It was that thing, Evelyn, who made them that way. But now Evelyn's dead. And these guys are here to clean up the mess. I had just come to terms with losing Mia. But now she's back and wants to start over. Put all this behind us. Maybe this is where the next door opens.
Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody. Go tell Aunt Rhody that everybody's dead. I was raised in a deep, dark hole, a prisoner with no parole. They locked me up and took my soul.